Hey guys, it's me Salman, and in today's video, we're gonna be talking about my fictional world. So, a while back I started this fictional world. It's like Middle Earth. Actually, no, I have a map in my room. Wait. Ah, that. Anyways, already off track, but we're gonna keep going. So, it's a fantasy-ish world. I know it's not most fantasy. Actually, I should just get into it. We're gonna start off with the map. I actually redid this because this is a map of my world. I'm calling it Ancient Earth. I know it sounds really bad. Don't tell me it's unoriginal. And by the way, most of these ideas are probably unoriginal. Anyways, so there are three continents on there: Coraline, Andefera, Gondefera. I think you can tell, obviously. There's one really big forest. There's a handful of other forests. My plan is, even if there's one tree right, right there. I don't know if you can see it, but like on a peninsula. Okay. So there's like one tree right there that'll represent a forest. So anywhere there's even one tree, that's a forest. Because remember, this is an Earth scaled map. So there's gonna be a lot of forests that are gonna seem tiny. Anyways, I don't actually have names for the mountain ranges because originally I did, but I didn't like how the map looked, and the continents were like this and this continent were like completely connected. Could have easily been called one continent. They weren't like, you know how Asia and Africa are connected? It wasn't like that. They were full on connected. You could sort of see how they're two different land masses, but they were connected enough to be one big one. Then there was, I used to call it Colaris Island, but islands are small and this is more of a continent. It's a small continent, but it is a continent. I actually have a timeline. It's right there. So I'm just gonna talk about this map. Um, uh, and like more geographical stuff. This mountain range right here, you see it, isn't natural in my lore. It's actually, there's a civil war that happened between celestials or like the gods of my world. You'll figure out over here, this timeline. I can't actually fit in one frame, can I? Either way, anyways, they're like these gods in my world. They're not like, you know, they're not the original, my god. I've only come up with three so far. Anyways, so yeah, pretty much this is actually the remains from like a war that happened between the celestials. This is like a remain of one of the gods. These are mountains. A body of celestials became a mountain range. If you see right here, that actually, right? Is it loading? I mean, not loading, what the heck? Focus! There. You see? Right there. There's like a skull on there. Yeah, that skull's sort of like, there doing its thing. And that's the skull of a celestial. Besides that, there's this mountain range, which is the biggest one, I think. Yeah, it is. Well, why am I saying I think? I'm planning to get rid of 2 or 3 of the big forests over here because I'm gonna add one probably right here. That's gonna be the second biggest one. This will still be the biggest forest on my map. And everything from this line right here is like ice, cold. And I don't know if it would be cold down here. Yeah, I guess like everything down here would be pretty cold. Uh, these would be the warm hotspots. I don't know if I'm gonna have deserts in my world. These are two pretty big land masses. I've decided that Andefra is the size of um how a continent, to put into context. I was thinking could be Asia, just a massive continent. But it could also be, I was thinking this should be like the size of either Europe or Australia, or Oceania, which are almost the same size by looking at a map. I don't actually know if they actually are near the same size. But when you look at a map, I honestly think Australia looks bigger, but I'm betting that Europe is bigger. Anyways, I don't have names for these oceans. There are three. Technically, there could be two because since it's on a globe, ain't no flat Earth map. That would mean there's gonna be one here and one here. And another thing is, I'm probably gonna make names for like seas within these oceans because I'm not sure, but I think on real maps, like small portions of oceans have like their own name for seas. Like I could name this the Coralline Sea because it comes right in between the area of Andefra and Coralline. And then there's this inland sea. Uh, if you can see, this is like the only cold like forest in up north. I have a few you can. I don't think you can see them. Wait a minute. Oops. What the heck? The camera. I just. I realized you were seeing something like over there. Sorry about that. Anyways, as I was saying, what was I even saying? Damn it! I was saying that like how there are rivers. I have a few rivers roughed in. Obviously, there would be a bigger network. Thinking of making like a river that goes down through this mountain range, wraps around, branches off into one over here, and keeps going down there. Being a river that long, that'd be pretty good. I've had one, two, three, four, five, six different lakes I've made. There probably should be more. This technically, it could be either a really small sea or a lake, so I guess I'll call it a lake. It's a pretty big lake for a lake. It's a pretty big size for a lake. Yeah, that's all it is. I so knew. If you have ideas for like an ocean names or like names for like mountain ranges, let me know. The timeline. This is where we're gonna spend most of our time. Oh, this video is probably gonna be pretty long. Oh god. Oh god. Wait. I'm gonna give you one big overview of the entire timeline. Oh god, you're seeing my floor. Sorry. Yeah, it's pretty big. That's a one big frame you're getting, and now I'm just gonna go through the timeline. Remember, these are all roughed out, and I'm not making this because I'm trying to make a story. I'm too young for that. I don't know how literature works. How do I write a story? I don't know. How to make a good story? I don't know. So I'm not doing this to write a novel or anything. I'm doing this because I want to, for fun. So I can have my own fleshed out world. Anyways, the time icon on this is CSESC, which is actually the most uncreative thing since creation. I know, haha, very creative. It's not. Celestials are born. This is what I was talking about, the celestials. Beings of unimaginable powers are born. They create animals, plants, and water. No one knows how they came to be. Okay, so that's that. Humans are born at celestials were born at 400 CE. Oh no, it shouldn't be born. It should have been like arrive or something. Appear. No, celestials appear because you don't know where they came from. That means that they were born. I want to me keep it open. So like maybe they came out of space or like they weren't born in this time. Maybe they were born a long time ago. Okay, I should probably stop talking. Okay, celestials create man. Celestial teaches men their skills, and by man I just mean like humans nowadays. No, like dwarves and stuff. That's not around yet. Then, roughly 600 years after, man evolves into subspecies, 1400 SC. Oh, by the way, this is the age of celestials. Right there. Anyways. I'm gonna write all the races or species down here. I've already decided that elves are gonna be in here, but they won't arrive here. It says right here that elves arrive, so they arrive later on. There's gonna be man. I don't know if there's gonna be hobbits or dwarves. There's probably gonna be orcs instead of dwarves. I've already I sort of have a design. Oh, I don't have it here right now. Never mind, I do. For my own race, it's only 2 drawings of this. Besides humans, obviously these guys seem to have horns, and I made it so like the men have like beardy horns, and like their eyes are small and their very lanky and tall and stuff. Yeah. I haven't decided their culture and the stuff they specialize in and all that. I drew it like 2 days ago. Anyways, then the first big event happens. You can tell by that star right there. Wait, not in the center. World war between celestials almost nearly destroys the ancient Earth, and then, 25 year no, not 25. That would be 15 years after the war ended. Celestials disappear. They just disappear. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on for that. Since I said it almost destroyed ancient Earth, that means it caused collateral damage. Yeah, and it formed this new mountain range as I was talking about. This was formed after Celestial War, during the Celestial War, because it's the remains of one of the Celestials. I haven't decided who or what, anything like that. But yeah, the Great Famine. The events of the World War leads to the Great Famine. This famine mainly affects the people and Andefra. All through the whole world is affected. See, that makes sense because Andefra also has a site of the dead, like the remains of one of the Celestials. So that means something big went down there. I was thinking I could like make a canyon sort of that formed, like were cracks that formed from the Celestials battle. That'd be pretty cool. Although I made it so Gondefra was also almost pretty much affected completely. It was not in a full on famine, but it was like food got really expensive and stuff like that. The Rebirth. Oh, this is the Dark Ages, by the way, since it's right during the World War between the Celestials to until the Rebirth. So this was a really bad time for them humans. New Kingdoms, the Rebirth, at year 2000 SC. Oh, and the famine goes on to right at the end of the Celestial War, which lasted 10 years. 1600, the 1610, 1610 SC to 1800 SC. That's how long the famine is. It's 190 years, almost 200 years of a famine. I think that's pretty long. I actually don't know how long famines are, but that'd be really long, which is good. Okay, wait, now we're gonna do this. Now we're at Rebirth, right? New kingdoms start emerging. See, the famine ends here, so that means like this is the formation period of the new kingdoms. Several new discoveries are made. Agriculture, e.g., agriculture gets better. That's not really a discovery, but yeah. Celestials. Oh, by the way, during the Great Famine, towards the end of it, people begin to hate Celestials because they used to worship them before, and now hatred is grown because they blame the Celestials for the famine because the events of the war lead to a famine, and it wasn't even the people's fault. It was just the Celestials fighting. I'm just trying to make it over, and the war is probably gonna be over something really simple like I don't know, probably power because I made it so there's no celestial king, and they're just three big gods like the big three in Greek mythology: Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. You know them. I made my own version of that, but without an underworld god. And there's no king, so king or queen or leader, whatever you want to say. So my point is, yeah. Oh, this is the Age of Revolution, the longest period, like the longest age. This is Dark Ages. Okay. Celestials become a myth. They stop believing. Most people do, not everyone, by the way. There's actually one kingdom that will keep believing it. Humans learn advanced magic. Oh, I should have mentioned. Humans learned basic magic back here. It's a smaller event because it doesn't have a description or anything. It's just there. Then later on, they find advanced magic. So that means there are two different types of magic in my world already, and I haven't even designed the magic system. Wow. Elves appear, by the way, right? Roughly 1,000. I think 1,100 years after men evolved into subspecies. So they're pretty later on. So you have to learn new magic. This is generally a happy period for man with one bad event, you could say. Uh, Coraline Island. No, Coraline was discovered. Okay, I should probably remove the island because it's called Colaris Island before. A new continent is found. That's it for that. The Frost Valley city is destroyed by a dragon, leading to 400,000 deaths. This wouldn't. Honestly, the only I've decided one thing of the Frost Valley Fortress or the Frost Valley City. It's not a very creative name. Don't. Yeah, you remember. Still fleshing it out. I've made it so this is the biggest elf colony. So not even 500 years has happened with. I made it so this is the biggest elf city. So elves take a massive blow like only 500, almost only 500 years after appearing, which is kind of sad. Then the technological revolution. Due to dragons reappearing, many kingdoms became it says more conscious and tried to invent things that can pierce the skin of dragons, which lead to inventions of early guns, cannons, and much more. So yeah, unlike most fantasy worlds, medieval fantasy, this is a fantasy, not medieval, because I find it really weird that these worlds exist for so long. Middle Earth, I love Tolkien. You're the best. I actually haven't read the book series, but the movie's amazing, so I'm assuming the book series is good too. Anyways, so yeah, Tolkien is like, yeah, these guys have been around for like, there've been four different ages. There's probably been thousands of years of history. There is thousands of years of history, and it doesn't seem like they get that advanced. It's like it just confuses me. But I actually made it. I like the detail where they actually invent guns, cannons, and stuff like that. Oh, and airships invented. Airships. Wait, what time is that? Oh, I should probably mention the time period we're in. We're now at 3400 SC, and airships were invented in 3300 SC. The technological revolution lasted 400 years. That's a pretty long time. Magic dies out. After inventions like guns, magic seems to lose its purpose. So, technically, I'm going to make it so magic actually accomplishes much more than guns could ever, because you can't make things appear out of thin air with magic or like teleport. I'm trying to have stuff abilities like that, the basics. But the thing is, people just start believing that why use magic and work so hard to learn something when you can just quickly learn how to use a gun. Okay, Arda colonization period. This had lasted 200 years. The king of Arda, which was already a big kingdom under the rule of uh, Jose II, starts expanding, and former kings after him continue what he started. This leads to Arda being the biggest kingdom of its time. Okay, and then this leads into the Second World War, you could say. This one mainly spans this is more like a continental war because Andefra, I made it so it's not as involved as Gondefra because Arda, the kingdom of Arda, or the nation of Arda is on Gondefra, and it's the biggest kingdom on Gondefra. Okay? Anyways, many kingdoms fought to protect and slash stop Arda from colonizing the whole world. This war was an alliance between multiple kingdoms to stop Arda, which had already colonized one half of Gondefra. So it had control of half of a continent. That's pretty big. And then downfall of Arda. Yeah, Arda falls, because the war leads them. They just the war like leads to a lot of bad things for them because they lose, obviously, because they're evil. I made it so they're not necessarily evil. I'm probably thinking of like I'm not gonna make full on stories. I'm probably gonna make short stories, and one short story could be from a perspective of somebody living in Arda during the colonization period. So you see that they're not evil, like, because I've never liked the idea of just having one Dark Lord. I'm not saying that Tolkien is bad. He's the best. Sauron is lit. I love Tolkien. You're the best. My best movie, my favorite movie was made using his material, his books. Anyways, Arda falls, and Arda's been. I'm gonna make it so. Another detail about Arda. Actually, I should probably bring out a map of where's the capital of Arda. Damn it. Wait, quickly go get the capital. It's actually right here. Just not within in on reach. Okay, I got it. I'm calling it Ardania or Ardania or Ardanian. And this is how it looks. Remember, airships are a thing now. And I'm not actually done this. It looks like a metropolis. I know. I'm thinking of making this sort of like an export, so like the, you know how there's like the financial capital, which is New York in modern day. I'm trying to make this sort of like the financial capital of its time. Another detail I want to say is, you know how the famine that happened a long time ago? I'm Arda. All not only Arda is one of the oldest kingdoms. It's also I made it, so it's the only kingdom that actually did not go through tough times during the famine because they're actually linked to the Celestials. Because there's one Celestials called Erda with an E instead of an A at the start, right? He's like the god of the earth or lord of the earth. I probably should say not earth because earth means like air, water, and land, but I should call him like ruler of the land. I don't know. Or continents or something like that because I made a celestial for water. Who you can actually see. Wait, you can see the feet of right now. One for the sky, and then one for the land. So like the continents and like nature and stuff and animals. Okay. So the kingdom of Arda. Oh, actually, no, I already read that. Downfall of Arda. That's where I am, right? Oh, I was talking about Arda. Damn it, I just jumped to different topics so much. So, as I was saying, Arda is one of the few kingdoms that actually did not go through tough times during the Great Famine. It didn't actually suffer that much because they actually prayed to their god Erda, like their god that was their host, sort of like because you know how there's Athens in Greek mythology. I know that's a city, not a kingdom, but yeah, Erda's just a kingdom that worships one god for the most part, right? So Erda's like blah 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 blah. I mean, then Erda, Erda decides to protect them during the war, like their main points, not the whole nation, but like the big parts of the Erda. And by the way, during this war, Erda wasn't as big of a kingdom as it is now. But then, when they got protected, the famine, which was pretty much destroying the whole world, was bad. Besides them, they were having a golden age when the famine was going on. Because you gotta know that in a real timeline, just because something bad happened, that doesn't mean it's bad for everybody. Because I'm not sure, but I think so, that when Europe was um in a dark age because of Black Plague or something bad, I don't know what because I'm not a nerd, was happening, it was the golden age for the East, Islam and stuff like that. I'm correct me if I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, Erda, and that led to you know how I said Celestials become myth. Erda's the last kingdom that also believes in Celestials, mainly only Erda, and even then, that doesn't mean the whole kingdom believes it, but you know they still have temples and worship them for the most part, right? So people, this is the last kingdom that actually has faith in the Celestials because they were protected by them in the past, which led to a positive outlook on the Celestials. Okay, this is the last thing I've added. Okay, so now we're at year 4000. We made it to the next millennium. There's been 4 millennials in this timeline so far. New Arda is born. Yeah, this is very Arda orientated. Huh. It's, yeah. If you want to have all the wars and stuff, you would go to Gondefra during this period because it was a bad time for Gondefra, you know? Well, bad time for Gondefra besides the Kingdom of Arda, which is on Gondefra. I'm so confusing. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you. But my plan for New Arda is that after the war, you know Ardania, since it was like sort of like a major player in like the whole world because now they have airships which travel at a considerable rate. I'm making it so they're much slower than like planes nowadays, but like they're still a good means of transport, and it's better than transporting goods through water now, although it still happens quite a bit. Since it is sort of like a financial capital of the world, in a sense of its time, I was thinking that it could also be like when I meant by the downfall of Arda, that doesn't mean the whole kingdom is done. It just means that all the greatness it had, it just fell back, and the country kind of like caved in and had a bad time. Okay, for a while it did, and then New Arda was born because I'm making it so a war happened, where it's a smaller war where Arda was, since it was already weakened by the War of Arda, which led to the downfall of Arda. Kingdoms that helped in the war to just defeat Arda and get back their land decided to take some of their land and start colonizing Arda, and the whole kingdom of Arda is under the rule of some other king now. I haven't decided which kingdom because I only have one kingdom that's actually fleshed out. Arda. Arda's like a nation, kingdom, nation, same thing. Yeah, so pretty much New Arda is born because now it's under a new rule and the nation of Arda has fallen, and now Arda is like, you could say like I don't know what you would say in like fantasy, if fantasy worlds or like medieval periods. And I mean, all this is the past medieval period. I think we're more the Victorian period kind of place where there's guns and stuff, but like we're still not that advanced. Yeah, so pretty much like Arda is more like a province. Oh no, I'm in Canada by the way. Provinces, that's what we call them in Canada. For them US people, you could say a state of in a bigger kingdom, and yes, that would mean that this bigger kingdom is massive. Although I'm gonna make a map of how big all these different kingdoms were in their respective time periods, since during this time, during the war, Arda had one half of the continent of Gondar. I was thinking that after the war, they slither down to only, they lose 3/4 of their whole kingdom. So they're much smaller, like much smaller. So when Arda is born, it's not as big. But that means the kingdom that took them is not the new superpower. New like big kingdom. Anyways, that's another timeline. I'm still not done it, obviously. I still need to add details for some places and flesh it out more. I might continue on to another page. This is 2 pages long, but who knows? I might go up to 10 pages. Timelines can go on forever. Okay. Celestials. I only have a description for one of them, Erda. You know, the guy with the kingdom of Arda. And remember, they actually disappeared after. What year was it? It was like before the second millennia. Yeah, they disappeared 1625 years CSC, right? Which is pretty, they're just gone. They dead. Not dead, but like, they're gone. Oh god, this video is 30 minutes long. Okay, Moana, Lord of the Oceans. Jesus, the Lord of the Oceans. And yes, I know you might be thinking of the princess, like the Disney princess Moana, but apparently Moana means water, and that's like the only the only name I could come up that was, I think, I can change her name to something else for a goddess. And as I said earlier, there is no like ruler, like definitive ruler. Ranos. Ooh, this is cool. So, in Greek mythology, I love Percy Jackson, the book series, and yeah, so I know a good amount of Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, Oranos, it's like OU, and then it's Ranos. I just decided to, since he's the Lord of the Skies, I just got rid of the OU. I just made him Ranos. I know, it's probably the original. And there's his weapon. Oh, that's her weapon. It's like a trident, but with those things instead of the fork bits. I don't know. Erda, who is the father to the kingdom of Arda. Personality. He has a personality. Erda is a very grumpy celestial, which means if you annoy him, he will zap you out of existence. No joke. Powers. Arda has some insane powers. For example, he can grow trees the size of mountains. He can control any organism living on land. So if he really wants to, he can lead an army of koalas. Yes, I said that. He also possesses super strength and he can also shapeshift. I should probably add more powers. The orb of ancient earth. Without the orb of the ancient earth, life on land would not exist. Um, Plants would not exist. Pretty much the earth would not be green. So yeah, he's pretty important. I still need to flesh out them. That's it. I'm done. I still have a lot of fleshing out to do. I said fleshing out a lot, but I do. Still need to come up with my races, my different creatures, like a timeline of. I still need to make multiple different maps and name all the different forests, mountain ranges, make the river system, make smaller maps in this bigger map that has to do with which names all the smaller stuff, have a map with the kingdoms on it, because this is a geographical map. I'm not gonna have any kingdoms on it because it's supposed to be a map that throughout the ages. Because so when you see maps, I'm probably gonna make like 20 or like 10, at least 10 different maps. Yes. And that's because kingdoms change, fall, and stuff like that. So I would have to make different maps for different time periods because one city won't be there for that long. I mean, Ardonia is the exception because its kingdom lasted an extraordinarily long time until it got colonized and became New Arda. Anyways, that's it. We done. This is the longest video ever. I mean, right now it's 31 minutes, but I'm probably gonna cut out some stuff because can't have all the stuttering and stupidity that I did during this video in it. I'm dragging on. I should probably just end the video. So guys, if you have any comments and ideas for this world, since I need to finish it, not finish it, but like, add more to it, let me know in the comment sections. If you really like the video, leave a like and subscribe, or subscribe actually. If you really like this, please subscribe. Bye.